Kindy Rockstars. Prepare for a treat, let's meet and greet some bands and singers that are super sweet, making music that's fun for boys and girls. Help them learn about this great big world. Fun for the family, yes it's true, your kids will love it and you will too. Clap and dance and sing aloud, become a part of the Kindy crowd. These songs will make you move your feet and give your ears a great big treat. So settle in, grab your guitars, and let's get to know our Kindy rock stars. Hello everyone, and welcome to Kindy Rockstars. This is the show that gives you the stories behind the songs from some of the best bands and singers that are making fun, informative, educational, catchy, and occasionally silly songs for children and families. I'm your host, Patrick Adams, and each episode of Kindy Rockstars will feature an artist and a featured song. So let's get to this week's show. Welcome to another episode of Kindy Rockstars. Joining me today is Val Smalkin, otherwise known as Silly Goose and Val. Welcome to the show, Val.
Well, thank you so much, Patrick. It's a joy to be here.
Nice to have you on. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself, how you got into Kindy music, and all about Silly Goose.
Okay, well, as we've discussed, you and I often in the past, that most people start in Kindy music the same way I did. You have children and you discover children's music. I had been a philosophy major in college. Then I went to Berklee College of Music in 1971. And it didn't take me long to realize that if I stayed in the jazz, rock, pop music genre, I was going to be dead in about 2 years. It was 1971 was a wild time. It's that sort of Andy Warhol time. It was crazy. So I thought, I need to do something else. So I tried a whole bunch of different things. I worked at a university as a secretary, which I'm glad I did because I'm a good typist. And I tried visual arts, and I tried environmental engineering. I was going to do that until I found out that environmental engineering has only to do with moving sewage. It's all about poop. And I thought, no, I was thinking nice lakes and trees. And so then one day my sister said to me, why don't you do environmental law? And I said, okay. I mean, with just that much intensity, I went to law school, okay? But all the time, I've come from a family of musicians. I got to mention them. Jay Lenhart, my brother, is a top bassist in New York. He's played with like Judy Garland, Duke Ellington, Sting, you name it. He's been there. He's the most valuable bass player in the 90s. He's 80 something now. And then his children, Michael Lenhart, has played with everyone. He did the trumpet lines on Uptown Funk. He's played with Paul Simon. So I have all these musicians in the family. So there's always music in the background. Law seemed saner for a while. Then I had children, like all the other Kindy artists. And then I found Raffi and kids music and a genre where you didn't have to be in a smoky, drug-filled bar, but you could sing at 10 o'clock in the morning, because I've always been a morning person. And you have children who will do whatever you say as long as you say one thing at a time, like sit down. You can't say sit down and cross your legs. You have to do that in two separate parts. Anyway, found kids music, thought just like everybody else, oh, I could do that, and started doing it. It turns out I just love it. So there we are. I'm 72 now. It's been quite a few years in this business. I think I started in 1987.
Wow, that's fascinating, because what an evolution of just technology and music and social and cultural norms. How have you navigated through those times?
I remember my first Apple computer with a 64 megabyte hard drive. 64 megabyte hard drive. This big thing on my desk. And when I got my first form letter out with different people's addresses, I was so excited. It was like giving birth to a child. I was just like, look at this thing. I mean, I guess it was in the 70s or 80s. Did I have children? Might have been the early 80s. I guess that's when they came out. And so, yeah, I had the first version of Finale for notating. And I've gone through every iteration of that since 1990. A trip.
And so, did you release cassettes and CDs and all that stuff?
I did, and it just so happens just today I dropped off two of our original cassettes. Chadwick Sings A Little Bay Music, which went along with Chadwick the Crab, a lovely book about a crab who lives in the Chesapeake Bay, and the other one was our first CD cassette, Come Sing With Us. And I dropped them off at an engineer today to have them hopefully transferred to a digital form, and I'm going to re-release them. I think. I don't know how they're going to sound. We'll find out.
They can work some magic, I'm sure, in the studio and make it sound wonderful.
Hope so. I always think there's little gnomes who live inside the machinery in a studio. They just, what you put in, they make it sound so much better when it comes out the other end.
So you were releasing cassettes, then CDs, then I assume streaming came into play. How did you, did you go into all of that willingly, or was there part of you that kind of resisted some of these new advances?
I love new equipment. I love the latest thing. So my first recording was a Fostex recorder that had 4 tracks, but you could bounce them down to 1 track, so you could really have 4, 3, whatever. There's a mathematical figure for that. Then I had an ADAT machine until that died. And then, so I guess when the real digital stuff came that you could do on your computer, that's like magic for me. I love it. And then to have a whole orchestra in your computer, that's just crazy stuff. So on the one hand, I sort of feel very guilty about musicians who are put out of business because I don't hire a drummer and a bass player, and I sort of wish I had, but I live in the Podunk Hills of Maryland, and there aren't a lot of musicians around here. Right. So for me, it was life-saving. So I loved it. And the streaming, I haven't made my mind up yet about the 5,000th of a cent that you get, or 500th of a cent you get for each stream.
It's like 1,000 streams get you like $10.
Yeah. So I got a check for $13. I got a check for $77. That's a lot of streams. Somewhere.
Well, you never know when the next Baby Shark is going to hit, and you get your billion streams. So
I have a friend.
We all keep plugging away at it.
So a producer told her, write something like Baby Shark. It was like,
that's what my wife told
kept
me.
Writing, yeah. It's like, but it's not like that until it is. Oh well.
Yeah. Just never know what's gonna hit.
Right.
All right. When did Silly Goose become part of your band?
Well. Oh, I could tell you all about it. No, you don't get to tell this story. No, I want to. No, you don't even know it. Oh. Okay, so I was doing a party I used to have a singing partner. Sorry, that reminds me of another very funny story. Val and Pam Kindersingers. Okay, we were, we started, well, that was in 87, right? So we used to just go sing and do songs for children. I'm sorry, I have to tell you this story. So Kinder Music called us one time and said, oh, you can't use the word Kindersinger. We have, and we were like, what? No, you really, no, Kindersingers, Kindermusic. So we thought, okay, we'll just have to be Val and Pam. So in those days, you had yellow pages, a real book where your name went. And so it said, we were thinking, where do we put it? Is it under entertainment? Is it under parties? We put it under entertainment because we do more than just birthday parties. So one night I get this call for Val and Pam, like 12 o'clock midnight on the phone. Val and Pam, can you come give us some entertainment?
God.
And they thought...
I think I know where this is going.
Yes, they clearly thought we were a different kind of entertainment. And I said, no. We are children's entertainment. So click, hang on. Well, I would get these calls, and I wrote the company. So you got to. We went back to Val and Pam Kindersingers. You got to get this out of the yellow book. Well, it was still in the yellow pages 5 years later. My son, who's 8 years old, answers the phone one time, and he goes, "Hey, Mom, it's another stripper call." Oh, you have to understand. I am such a little old church lady, just that's what made it funny. Anyway, so that was a complete aside, excuse me. So, how I started with Silly Goose and ventriloquism. We were doing a Halloween party at the Bethesda Country Club near Washington, D.C., in a rather small room with 600 people, kids just packed in right up to the stage. And two little boys in the front row started a fist fight. I mean, boff in the jet. Right. So I'd been working long enough. I know you can't frown when you're on stage. You can't get mean with people. You just have to keep smiling. So I clicked off my microphone, stuck a smile on my face, bent down and said, "If you do that again, I will call the police." And the boys stopped. I mean, I would get in trouble for that today, I'm sure. But this was 1990 something, 91. So they stopped. And after that show, I turned to the woman I sang with and said, I could be a ventriloquist. Mm-hmm. And that's the day I decided to make myself a puppet and do it. And 30 years later, I'm good at it. I wasn't that good at the start.
I'm sure Jeff Dunham wasn't either. It probably took a lot of practice.
He does four voices at once. I have two. Silly Goose has a part of my brain, which is hers. I have my part of my brain. But Jeff Dunham has to be divided in four and have these conversations going back and forth. He's amazing. Woof.
Yeah, that's some discipline right there.
Talent. Practice.
Yep. All right. You ready to get into a song?
I am ready.
Special song on today's episode called Dance of Freedom. And I can't do it justice by way of introduction. So Val, tell everyone how this song came to be and the special people that were involved with it.
Well, it's a very amazing song. And if you're hearing this before April 18th, 2022, you are getting a special pre-release hearing. This song, the lyrics were written by a group of blind students at the Maryland School for the Blind in a songwriting workshop. We started 5 years ago on this. And the Dance of Freedom came because we were in a big gym and I had them stand up and dance to music. And I said, "How does it feel?" And they said, "Oh, this feels like freedom." And so then they got started on this Dance of Freedom. And so they wrote the lyrics and we honed them and week after week. Then I looked around for musicians to help write the music because we didn't quite have that talent in our group. And Dave Kinnoin, who, if you don't know, you should know. He's written songs for Disney. He's been the voice of Aladdin. He's just an amazing songwriter as well as just a great guy. And his partner, Jimmy Hammer, wrote the music for free. They donated this for the Dance of Freedom. Barbara Silberg, who directs the West Los Angeles Children's Choir, had her choir learn the words, and they loved it, and they sang it. We added some of the voices of our children from the Maryland School for the Blind. And also, again, Mark Stocker, who I mentioned before, he mastered all of the songs. This song and all the ones on the album is called Life Beyond Sight. He mastered all of that as a donation. And that all started with, and I have to mention, the Theater Arts Festival for Youth, TAFFY, is a 501c3 that sends artists into underserved places, either schools or hospitals. And we did this album as one, hopefully, promotion for TAFFY and as a service to any blind school if they would like to use it for fundraising or whatever they'd like to do. So we're very excited to have you hear this Dance of Freedom. You are the first people, I think, to hear it outside of the people who made it.
All right, well, let's play it. Here is Dance of Freedom.
We will dance the dance of freedom, whether blind or whether sighted. We will dance the dance of freedom, and our hearts will be united. I feel your distances. I know that
All right. Well, Val of Silly Goose and Val, tell everybody where they can stream and download your music and how they can find and connect with you on social media or your website.
Ooh, well, our website is www.sillygoose and and is spelled out AND because they don't let you use an ampersand. So www.sillygooseandval.com. We are, if you Google Val Smalkin Children's Music, you'll find everything, I do believe. We're on Facebook as Val Smalkin and Silly Goose and Val. We're on streaming everywhere. Again, just look up Val Smalkin and you'll find it. Or if you look up Love Bug Val Smalkin, you'll find it for sure. Let's see. Are there any other places? Remember, I am 72 years old. I'm sort of metamorphosing into grandma's place because I'm looking more like a grandma these days than the sort of clownish person I started off as 40 years ago. So I hope to meet you. Just get in touch on Facebook, get in touch on, there's Instagram accounts, there's other things, LinkedIn, who knows, all sorts of places.
Excellent. Well, Val, thank you so much for being on the show. All the best to you and to Silly Goose.
Oh, Patrick, thank you. Thank you for what you do for children's music, independent artists. You are really a rock star in this business.
Thank you. All right. Talk to you again soon.